We're back from last video. Last video we had gone over 3D shapes. We went over your attributes, faces, vertices, and edges of each shape. Today we're going to be reviewing all that for each shape, but we're also going to learn step by step how to draw each 3D shape. So let's start off with your cube and your rectangular prism. You could call these shapes, they're kind of like kin to each other. They have the same attributes. They have the same number of faces with 6. They have the same number of vertices with 8. And they also have the same number of edges with 12. So let's go ahead and get into drawing your cube. Step 1. Step 1 is to just draw a square. This square is going to be your front face on your cube. Step 2. Just draw a small dot in the middle of your square, and then from that dot, we're going to draw your back face. So draw another square the same size as that front square, starting with that dot. All right, step 1 and step 2 are complete. Now let's go on to step 3. Step 3 is your easiest step. All you're going to do with your front face and your back face, you're going to connect the vertices. So this top vertice, you're going to connect it to that back one, and then that one to this one, and then your bottom one's the same way. So let's go ahead and connect them. All right, and then you got yourself a cube. And then let's go on to your rectangular prism. Remember, these two shapes are like kin to each other. So not only do they share the same faces, vertices, and edges, they also share the same steps when we're drawing the two. The only difference is, if you remember from our last video on 3D shapes, the cube has square faces and the rectangular prism has rectangle faces. That's why it's called a rectangular prism. Easy to remember. All right, so let's get into drawing your rectangular prism. Step 1, same as your cube. Instead of drawing a square, we're going to draw a rectangle. All right, and then from there, same step. Step 2, put that dot in the middle and draw your back face. All right, step 1 and step 2 are complete. And then again, you're just going to connect them vertices. So let's go ahead and put your edges on it. And then you got yourself a nice, pretty rectangular prism and a nice cube right there. Let's get into your next two shapes. We're going to go over your cone and your pyramid at the same time. We're going to review those attributes. So step 1, drawing your cone. You're going to draw as if you're drawing a triangle, but you're going to leave that bottom side out. So you should have this. All right, so you should have that on your paper. And then easy shape to draw. Instead of having that straight line connecting your triangle, you're just going to draw oval. And then you got yourself a cone. And then I grabbed the cone so you can look at it while we're going over your attributes. If you look at your cone right here, you got your one face. Easy. You got one vertex, you can see it up there, or you can see it right here. And then you got one edge. If you were to rub your finger on the edge of that cone, it's only one of those. Easy work for your cone. Easy one to remember. Let's go on to your pyramid. Pyramid, it takes a little bit of practice to draw your pyramid and have it looking good. But you should be able to get it pretty easy if you do it a couple times. So first step on your pyramid, we're going to start with a triangle. This time we're going to connect that bottom part there. All right, step 1 complete. Now, there's 3 steps to drawing your pyramid. Step 2, come down from that top vertex, and you're just going to draw a line coming down like that. So it's going to stop. You're not going to go all the way down there. You're going to stop a little bit. You're going to give yourself a little bit of space. Step 3, easiest step, connect that vertex to this back vertex. Give yourself an edge, and now you got yourself a pyramid. Again, let's go over your pyramid using a pyramid shape so we can get your attributes. Your attributes are not going to be the same as your cone. So let me go ahead and erase your cone, attributes, and go over your pyramid. All right, for your pyramid, you can't see it as well as on the board, so I went ahead and grabbed you one. Let's count your faces. You got your one on the bottom, and then you have a face in the front, a face in the back, one on the side, one on the side. So in all, you have 5 faces. Vertices, you have 1 on the top, and then for your square, you have your 4 vertices at the bottom. 1 plus 4, 5, easy work. And then your edges, you have your 4 edges on the bottom with that square base pyramid. and then you have your 4 edges on the side. 4 plus 4, 8. Easy work. Let's go on to your next 2 shapes. All right, your last 2 shapes that we're going to go over are your sphere and your cylinder. Your attributes for your sphere, easy. If you remember from your last video, attributes for your sphere are 0, 0, and 0. Anytime you're holding a ball or anything, that's going to be in the shape of your sphere. So we're going to start. Step 1, drawing your sphere, is just drawing a circle. It's not going to be perfect. So get you a circle, and then you're done right there. If you want to make it fancy, you can do this. Draw you a little line at the bottom. And then maybe put a little bit of shading down there. And you got yourself a sphere. That's a fancy sphere. All right, let's go on to your cylinder. I got you a good cylinder over here that we'll look at. So after we're done drawing it, we'll look at it and go over your attributes. They're going to be different from that. So let's go ahead and erase these. All right, your cylinder. Another easy shape to draw. Step 1 on your cylinder, draw you 2 parallel lines. Step 2, draw a circle at the top, or an oval. All right, and then step 3, you're just gonna draw a half oval at the bottom, closes your shape up, and it looks like a can. I got you a good cylinder right here while we'll look at it to get your attributes. I got a lot of cylinders around the house. You can grab a cone, you can grab a cup and look at it. Your cylinder, you have a top face, you have a bottom face, giving you a total of 2 faces. And then you got your edge on top for that face, and then you got your edge on the bottom for that face. 2 edges, and if you look at it, there's no vertices on it. Vertices, 0. Easy work. Let's get in some review, and then we'll finish up for today. All right, for review, first thing, we're going to go over some 3-digit subtraction, 3-digit addition. We're going to have to regroup when we have to regroup, and when you don't, you don't. Since this is review, we're going to go a little faster. So let's get started on our first one. You start in your ones place, you got 5, take away 2. 5 minus 2 equals 3. Go into your tens place, 4 minus 6. You cannot do 4 minus 6. You need to cross out, cross out. We're going to regroup. Move over to your hundreds place, borrow from your hundreds place. That 3 turns into a 2. Then you're going to move that 1 over, and now give it to that 4. 14 take away 6 equals 8. And then 2 take away 1 equals 1. Then let's go on. Pay attention to that sign. We're moving on to addition. Starting your ones place, 2 plus 7 equals 9. Move over to your tens place, 9 plus 7. You're going to have to regroup. 9 plus 7 equals 16. Put down your 6. Carry your 1. 1 plus 4 equals 5. 5 plus 3 in your hundreds place equals 8. 869. Let's go over another addition one. Starting in your ones place, you got 9 plus 6. 9 plus 6 equals 15. Put down your 5. Carry your 1. 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 plus 2 equals 11. 11, you cannot put 11 in the tens place. You're going to have to regroup, double regroup on this one. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 3 equals 5. 515 for that one. And let's go on to your last one, subtracting again. If you pay attention to that sign, we're going to start in your ones place, 2 minus 3. You cannot do 2 minus 3, so we're going to have to regroup. Cross out, cross out. You're going to borrow from that tens place. That 4 is going to turn into a 3. You're going to move that 1 over next to your 2, and it's going to turn into a 12. 12 minus 3 equals 9, and then 3 minus 1 equals 2. 4 minus 3 equals 1, 129. Now let's go ahead while we got time. Let's check these 2 subtraction ones. If you remember, the way to check subtraction problems are, you add your difference to the number you were subtracting. So let's add these 2 bottom numbers on both of them. And if our sum, when we add those 2 numbers, equals our top number, we know for sure we got it right. All right, so let's add our first 2 numbers. Let's write it down here, set up our equation. Make sure that your numbers line up. 2 plus 3 equals 5. 6 plus 8 equals 14. Carry your 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. 345. Do we have 345 up there? So we got it correct. And let's do the same thing for this last one, and we'll move on to some more review. Let's add our difference to our number that we subtracted. 313 plus 129. Our numbers line up good. So let's go ahead and add. 3 plus 9 equals 12. Carry a 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 1 plus 3 equals 4. 442. 442. So we got that one right. We got that one right. We're looking good. Let's move on. All right, let's cover your attributes of two-digit shapes or two-dimensional shapes. Let's cover your attributes of an important one, quadrilateral. You're going to hear that shape for the rest of your life, especially when you get into upper grades. You're going to hear a lot of questions about quadrilaterals. If you remember a quadrilateral, we're just going to write quad for short. Well, let's go and start with is a 2D shape. So it's a flat shape with, if you remember, all quadrilaterals have four sides. So an example of a quadrilateral would be a square. Rectangles are quadrilaterals. If you remember, trapezoids are quadrilaterals. Or you got your rhombus, quadrilaterals. So a quad or a quadrilateral is a 2D shape with four sides. And then there goes your examples of quadrilaterals. Let's go on to your next shape that we're going to review, 2D shape. Let's go on to your pentagon. Easiest way to remember a pentagon is to remember that a pentagon looks like a house. It looks like a square with a triangle on top, or a rectangle with a triangle on top. So if you know how to draw a little house, and then you take that away, and you got yourself a good pentagon. And let's start. A pentagon is a 2D shape. It's also a flat shape with 5 sides. All right, to finish up, we're going to be going over different forms, number forms, on how to just represent numbers. 611. Easiest way I can think of 611 is to write 611 in standard form or number form, 611. And let's do it in expanded form. You'd have 600, 6 in your hundreds place, 110, 1, 1. So 600 plus 10 plus 1. Let's go on to your next one, 542. 542, let's put that back in the word form. So 5. There goes 542 in word form. And then let's think of another way. Let's go ahead and put it in the block form. We haven't used block form yet. So using your base 10 blocks to represent the number 542, you would need 500s, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 42, 4 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 1s. 542. And let's go on to your last problem. This one might be a little bit tricky. This is one you have to take your time with, starting in your ones place. Let's count up how many ones we got, because it looks like we have too many to have in the ones place. 3, 6, 9, 12. And if you've been paying attention this year, you get your 10, group them up, and you move them over to your tens place. So now you have 200, and you have 110, and then you have your 2 ones left over. You can represent that number. Let's put that number into standard form again. We'll have 200, 110, 2 ones, 212 is your number. And let's do expanded form one more time. So 200 plus 10 plus 2, 212. All right, we'll finish up for the week since it's Friday. We'll start back Monday, finishing up 3D shapes, finishing up some similar review. I'll see y'all next week.